But I've got a caller on the line, Houston Burnett. Welcome to the show.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Well, hey, you know what? I figured I'd mention, at this time of year, Gamecock fans are SEC rules officials. They're SEC replay official experts. They're, obviously around this time of year, they're going to beat the drum that they're moral experts. And of course, you might see us be, they're experts at knowing, cultish fan bases or anything. They throw that around a lot too. But hey, they got to beat the drum somehow for something when you lose to Stetson at home by 6 in basketball this morning. Rough day for the Gamecocks. But, yeah. So, hey, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Y'all are doing great. But I did want to offer some reflection on the Fiesta Bowl and maybe a little look ahead. Don't want to steal your thunder too much on the LSU game. But first point I want to bring up for the Fiesta Bowl, you talked about Nolan Turner. I think it's kind of wild that 2 of his interceptions that he's had out of his 3 in his career have been in the playoffs. And especially this one, it kind of reminds me, he's like a Hunter Renfrow of the defense. He's very endearing to the fan base. He seems to come up with clutch plays when you need him. He's very good in coverage. And then he comes up with arguably one of the biggest stops in football history with us. The other reflection about this is you think about the game itself in a whole compartmentalized everything. After that first quarter, when you're down 10-0 and then 13 and then 16, once you went down 16-0, we outgained them 420 to 220. We outrushed them 125 to 25. We had more sacks, more tackles for losses. We've won the turnover battle, and we did that all with our 3 top players being injured at some point or another, even if it was a play. But you also had them going against arguably the greatest defensive front that they're going to face all season, as well as probably the best secondary that they're going to face. So that brings me to my brief. I'll keep it brief. Look ahead to LSU. Someone on ESPN said that when LSU and Oklahoma played, that this was the best team Oklahoma played, but not the best team that LSU played, and that showed. Joe Burrow's phenomenal, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Terrence Marshall, Thaddeus Moss, they're all amazing athletes. But at the same time, I don't think that LSU has played a more complete team than Clemson. I think you can make the case that this game coming up, LSU is playing the best team that they will play. However, Clemson's already played the best team. They've already played Ohio State. And I think they win this game going into New Orleans. It's going to be a hostile environment, but this is where Dabo and Brent Venables want to be. I think they pull away at the end, 34-24. Tigers win it. The real Tigers win it, bringing it to the real Death Valley, and they pull a stunner in New Orleans on January 13th.
Hey, I like that prediction. And you touched on a lot of good things, Houston, about, the fact that the Tigers have played the best team. I really believe that, Al. I mean, we said this kind of going into it. Ohio State and Kirk Herbstreit, guys from College Game Day, all said it too. Ohio State, I mean, they were top 5 in offense, top 5 in defense. LSU, obviously number 1 in total offense, but kind of like in the 30s in total defense. Gave up 41 points to Alabama, only won to Auburn by 3 points. So I feel like that Clemson has an edge in the sense that they can hang with them as far as pound for pound, because they are going to be going up against, I believe, a weaker defense. And Clemson's offense is really strong. LSU's defense not as strong. Clemson might be able to have more opportunities than they had against Ohio State. And really, if you think about it, if you have another game where Trevor Lawrence runs for 100 yards and Travis Etienne gets a ton of receiving touchdowns for over 50 yards, 2 receiving 50-yard touchdowns, I mean, I'm thinking that Clemson wins big in that game because, but I will say this, I do think that Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yes. Here's the other thing too. I think Joe Burrow is probably the most outstanding quarterback we're going to face. And I will grant them that this is the best offense we're going to play. But I think the underlying storyline that no one on ESPN, no one on any website, no one is talking about, that this could be the potential final game for Travis Etienne in his home state in the stadium that he's always wanted to play in, and this could be kind of the vindication of that ugly performance he had against Alabama in the 2018 Sugar Bowl. I think that's being overlooked. I think a lot of people aren't paying attention because of the fireworks with the quarterbacks. I am not going to be surprised if you see an angry, fierce Travis Etienne coming off the blocks that day to finish out his career with a career day in his home state in front of a home crowd.
Wow. I was sitting here talking about the quarterbacks, Al, but he makes a great point that Travis Etienne, this is his last game and as a Tiger, last college game, and it's going to be in his hometown, home state.
Right.
What is your thoughts about that?
Yeah, obviously, he didn't make a lot of friends when he committed to Clemson. A lot of people thought, that he would go to LSU. Clemson and LSU both got in on him very late. LSU tried to steal him away. And he ended up going to Clemson and said he was going to play for the Real Death Valley. If you're from Louisiana and talk about going to play in the Real Death Valley in Clemson, you're not making any friends there at all, for sure. So I'm sure he's gonna. I think I saw his mom maybe post something today that they were getting death threats about the game and stuff like that, which is pathetic. Talk about ugly. That should have been in our first segment. It's ridiculous the way that we kind of take sports to the extreme. It makes it fun as well, but when you kind of there's a fine line and they cross it by a mile, for sure. As Joey would say, the line is a dot to you. Okay, it's pretty pathetic. So hopefully he can go in and have a career day. I'm pretty sure he only needs like 7 rushing yards or something like that to break the all-time Clemson record or something. So it's going to be a good day for Travis Etienne. I have no doubt he'll make that mark and put his final stamp on Clemson football.